This is the Dempster Dinosaur, the world's newest system of bulk materials handling. Looks like many another truck, but it's oh so different. For instance, did you ever see a truck stop and without the driver leaving the cab, put its body off on the ground? Or did you ever see a truck back up to a container loaded with 34,000 pounds, 17 tons of loose gravel, and pick it up so gently that not one piece shifts or slides? Yes, this is the Dempster Dinosaur. This is the new system that promises unlimited possibilities for more efficient bulk materials handling. The need for such a system has long been with us. Of course, the concept of one truck and one driver handling many detachable containers has proven its efficiency for over a quarter of a century. And during this quarter of a century, we have seen these detachable containers grow to larger and larger capacities, until the ceiling for efficient handling with conventional equipment was reached. Fortunately, the requirements of the majority have been and will continue to be met by conventional size containers. But an important segment of users are in need of giant containers and heavier payloads. To achieve these heavier payloads, it became obvious that rather than lift the containers by sheer power, it would be necessary to employ a tilting skid frame. But how to get the larger containers up the skid frame? To some, the answer was ridiculously obvious. Why, just pull the containers up with cables and winches. First, 3 or 4 hydraulic cylinders to move the skid frame up and down. Add a couple more hydraulic cylinders, a power takeoff, a few shivs, cable, and we're ready to go. First, we hook the cable onto the container. Go back to the cab and throw on the power. It worked. Unfortunately, some soreheads who had to operate the equipment and make it pay took the wrong attitude. Without being at all sympathetic or practical, they complained that there were too many working parts to cause maintenance problems. They took the unfair position that it was impossible to push a container off on a dock or flat car because, try as you may, it is impossible to push with a cable. Some bitter skeptics even hinted that cables, the best of cables, under the continued stress of 30,000-pound loads, would from time to time snap, causing delays, discomfort, and downtime. These objections from prospective customers led Dempster engineers, after many rejected ideas, to the basic principles behind the Dempster Dinosaur. First, simplification. Complete elimination of cables, shivs, winches, sprockets, and chains. Reduction of raise and lower cylinders to 2 double-acting units. The result was a piece of equipment with 3 basic moving parts, 2 cylinders which control the tilting frame, and a double-acting cylinder with a spring-loaded bale which pulls the container up the tilting frame. Here's how it works. Under each dinosaur container is a subframe or rack, whose center bar has a number of recessed hook stations spaced to coincide with the stroke of the bale cylinder. Let's watch as the Dempster Dinosaur picks up a container rack at demonstration speed. The tilting frame is raised, which lowers the spring-loaded bale to a point just above the ground. As the bale encounters the first hook station, its spring causes it to snap up and engage. Now the operator draws the bale cylinder forward, pulling the front of the rack up on the tilting frame. Next, the frame is lowered until it is aligned with the angle of the rack. At the same time, the bale cylinder is extended, causing it to leave the first hook station and travel along the center bar until the front of the second hook station is engaged. Reversing the action of the cylinder causes the rack to be pulled still further up on the tilting frame. As the bale is again pushed out, the bypass shuttle in the center of the hook station guides it past the back of the hook and puts it on the center bar, where it travels until the third hook station is engaged. Note that the load is now forward of the center of gravity, permitting the operator to lower the tilting frame until it rests on the chassis while continuing to pull the load forward. The bale now goes back for the 4th and last hook on this particular rack. As it is pulled forward into carrying position, 4 powerful locks engage to hold the rack and container securely during transit. In actual practice, rather than lock the brakes and pull the container up on the truck, it is permitted to roll back under the load, exerting a wedge effect with the tilting frame. To stabilize the dinosaur during pickup operations, this hydraulically operated roller jack is lowered. As the dinosaur moves under the container, the roller jack provides constant moving support. To put the container on the ground, the pickup operation is reversed. Instead of pulling against the front of the hooks, the bale pushes against the backs until the container comes in contact with the ground. The swinging bypass shuttle hanging in the center of the hook station permits the operator to engage either the front or back of the station. Here, he holds the front of the hook while lowering the container to the ground. Now it is going down gently as the bale moves forward to engage the number 1 hook, which is held while the container is lowered the remaining distance to the ground. When the container is on the ground, the bale is extended downward until the number 1 hook is disengaged, permitting the truck to move away. When putting the container on a dock or railroad flat car, the bale exerts a straight push on the backs of all hook stations, starting with the back hook and moving forward by degrees until the front hook station is reached and the container is pushed inside the edge of the dock. To pick the container off the dock, this process is simply reversed. Often it is necessary to put a container into an inaccessible spot or align it. And here is how the Dempster Dinosaur does this job. Using the bale to lift the front of the container, the driver simply backs up at the proper angle and pushes it into position. Where space and maneuverability are a problem, containers are available with rear rollers that can be backed or pulled in the manner of a semi-trailer. Rollers lose contact during lifting operations. Where slick, icy conditions exist, a pair of retaining springs can be quickly raised to operational position. These springs engage lugs on the bottom of the container and prevent it from slipping while the bale moves from hook to hook. Operation of the Dempster Dinosaur is easily mastered by anyone who can drive a truck. These simple levers do all the work. Now let's see why the Dempster Dinosaur fits into private hauler, industrial, military, and municipal operations. First, because of its simple design and light weight, it has a lifting ratio of 5 pounds of load for every 1 pound of its weight. This, combined with its excellent weight distribution, makes it possible for the Dempster Dinosaur to handle gross loads of approximately 30,000 pounds on a tandem axle chassis, or approximately 22,000 pounds on a single axle chassis. Actually, the weightlifting capacity of the Dinosaur is unlimited. As Archimedes said, "Give me a place to stand, a lever long enough, and I will move the earth." In a sense, the same is true of the Dinosaur's powerful lifting principle, for its lifting capacity is limited only by the size of the truck available. This is important to plants wishing to handle gigantic loads. Scrap metal dealers, who have made tremendous savings by placing conventional size containers at plants which generate scrap, may now, by using big capacity containers, extend their collection operations to plants 30, 40, and even 50 miles away from their scrap yards. The same principle applies to private refuse haulers, who wish to offer their service to plants many miles from their base of operations. The Dinosaur system is practical anywhere large volumes of waste or other materials are generated at a single point, as occurs in many industrial plants, municipal incinerators, or institutions. Here, a single large container does the work of several smaller containers. Private haulers in municipalities faced with long hauls to distant disposal areas will find the big capacity Dinosaur containers ideal for use as transfer station for either conventional collection trucks, packer trucks, or as portable dumps for use with the Dempster dumpster system. In this housing project, the Dinosaur container is placed by the side of a street to temporarily store refuse. Throughout the project, Dempster dumpster containers are placed for refuse storage. Instead of using the system of carrying each container to the disposal area several miles away, this Dempster dumpster GRD 304F2 mechanically picks up the container and hauls it to the Dinosaur container only a few yards away. Here, the contents of the container are automatically transferred to the Dinosaur container. In this manner, using a shuttle system, one Dempster dumpster GRD, one Dempster Dinosaur, and several giant containers can serve all of the housing projects of a large city by shuttling large quantities of refuse to distant disposal areas for dumping, which is easily achieved by opening the back doors and raising the skid frame. This same system, of course, applies to large industrial plants which have many waste accumulation points and a long haul to the disposal area. Another area in which the Dempster Dinosaur presents opportunities for savings is in cargo handling. Here we see a standard railroad flat car being loaded by the Dinosaur. In this view, the containers are being pushed on over the ends of the flat car. However, in special situations, they may be put off on uncoupled cars by approaching at an angle. Removing the container is just as easy as putting it on. This means that the Dempster Dinosaur is the only system that can pick up from or put containers on standard flat cars without the use of heavy cranes or expensive extra heavy-duty forklift trucks. Then carry them over the road within legal load limits, to be delivered at a plant some distance from the railroad line. Here, the container may be lowered to the ground, pushed off on the dock, or left at dock height on sturdy telescopic let-down legs to be unloaded at the convenience of the consignee. The next hour or next day, when the container is unloaded or reloaded without going merchandise, the Dinosaur returns to pick it up. After the bale engages and lifts the front hook, the front legs are retracted and the container is ready to be picked up. For motor freight cargo handling, LTL shipments to large consignees may be stored as they come to the terminal in a container placed at a loading port. When the container is full of freight, it will be taken to the consignee for unloading at his convenience. Yes, applications for the Dempster Dinosaur are seemingly endless, and containers for many applications and materials are available by merely fabricating them over the basic rack or subframe, like pressure and storage tanks for the chemical and petroleum field, hoppers, tool houses or mud boxes for oil well drilling contractors, stake side containers for handling heavy equipment, steel members, logs or sugarcane, and of course, the many standard containers, available in a wide variety of sizes up to 40 cubic yards and larger, with lids or back doors. Yes, with its large variety of containers and uses, its unlimited lifting ability, and its ability to transport huge loads over the road, the Dempster Dinosaur is an important addition to the materials handling systems of the world.